So we're gonna start off my third favorite Kobe moment of all time. Personally, obviously, this is all personal. Please do not, go to my comments or message me saying, "Oh, why is this your top three list?" This is all my personal three most memorable Kobe moments. This is to myself, and this is Peter's top three moments from Kobe that he will remember. Number three, we'll start off number three. I'm talking about April 13th, 2016, Kobe's final game. How much points did he hang? He hung up 60 points, 6-0 on his final game. I know he took like a gazillion shots. I know he never passes. Well, he never passed anyways. But 60 points on his final game. There was playoff implications prior to the game with Utah Jazz, the team that they were playing. Unfortunately, by the time the tip-off happened, Utah was already eliminated. So obviously the only thing riding on this game was Kobe's last game. So they had this televised on ESPN. I'm still a little salty, though, because they had another game on ESPN that they were also hyping up, and that was Golden State's search for their 73rd win. So I'm still a little bit salty that ESPN had that on as well with Kobe's last game, but that's a topic for another day. Right now we're talking about Kobe. And number three for me, 60 points. He hung up 60 on him. And with those young Lakers, half of them aren't even on the team. Actually, all of them aren't even on the team now. But he hung up 60 points on him. I mean, that's just something. I was watching this because growing up as a Kobe fan, I'm like, man, I don't even know how I'm going to react to his last game, Peter. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to cry my eyes out. What am I going to do? And I think that game, 60 points, I mean, I was sitting on my couch speechless. I mean, I didn't cry. I literally just was soaking it all in. And obviously now reflecting on it, I mean, it was such a beautiful moment to kind of end his career, especially with the Lakers, the team that he played his whole 20-year career with. But yeah, that's my number three moment, top three Kobe moment. Number three, 60 points, final game. Peter, what's your number three?
Number three. Interesting. I do have that in my list, but that's not my number three one. My number three is actually Kobe to Shaq versus Portland in 2000. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When Phil Jackson's about to just like, y'all want to end up like this, down 17. You're like, and then Shaq and Kobe said no. Yeah, we're not ending like this. We're too good to end like this, basically. And it's basically because it was the first time they kind of broke through together. And we all know now with Shaq and Kobe, they're both alpha males. I'm sure even then their egos were clashing together. And it was just a beautiful moment between two guys, kind of put aside their ego and really kind of cap off that win. I don't know. I think they were like up by 4 or 5 then, and then they just kind of just like, boom, put a thing. It was just a beautiful moment. And I know it wasn't even the championship game, but it was kind of being battle tested sort of deal. They've been through a 7-game series. They just came back from down whatever it was, double digits in the fourth quarter to Portland. So I'm sure going into the championship series, they were just riding high and said, "We got this." So that's my number three. I think it was a beautiful moment because it was kind of a maturing moment for Kobe and Shaq to break through. So let's get to number two.
Number two for me, and Peter, that was a great one. It didn't make my list, but it's a great one. It's a great one. Number two for me, buzzer beater versus the 2006 Phoenix Suns first round playoff. Kobe. It was actually 2 buzzer beaters. First one was off of a steal to tie it up. To send it to overtime, Kobe Bryant hit a nice little floater bank shot over Raja Bell, send it to overtime. And then in overtime, we all know the play. Jump ball. Kobe Bryant takes the ball. I mean, Mike Breen, but just an absolute dagger of a call. Kobe Bryant pulls up from the elbow. Bang! Iconic shot, as you just did, Peter. Kobe pulling his jersey. I mean, that's number two for me. And that's my favorite Kobe buzzer beater of all time.
Okay, I feel that. Why did he do? By the way, I never knew why he did that little move? Why was that?
Actually, I don't know. Peter. That's me for not knowing. I mean, as an 11-year-old boy, seeing that, I was just geeked beyond compare. And even though that series didn't end, well, I think that just is my favorite buzzer beater of all time. That was Kobe's best year of all time as far as just overall play. We had a terrible team that year. We had those were the Smush Parker days, and I say is that those two words and all Laker fans and everyone can attest to those days. But I mean, just as far as the clutchness of that shot, of both shots actually, and it was against Phoenix, who I absolutely hated at the time. I mean, nothing against Steve Nash, but I just didn't like this. I mean, I didn't like Dan and Tony. I mean, I just didn't like any of them. And so for us to hit that shot at the moment, it's just something that I remember. You know, it may not be Kobe's best buzzer beater, like when it's all said and done or when people talk about it, but it's my favorite. And you just add the Mike Breen call, and that just is it's just a sprinkling on top. It's just iconic for me, and that's just something whenever I think of a Kobe buzzer beater, and whenever I was practicing in the front of my yard, I was always practicing that play: dribble up, elbow jumper, boom, did the whole jersey tug, all of that. So that's number 2 for me. Number 2 for you, Peter.
That's a beautiful moment, man. It's not in my list, but it probably is my favorite buzzer beater of his. I mean, that was so iconic. Even though I'm not a Laker fan, I still replay it. I look it up on YouTube just because it's so iconic. So my number 2 is actually just the game itself. I don't know if it was that season. Was it? I think it was the 05-06 season. His last season is number 8. He got 81 points against the Toronto Raptors. I think it was 05-06, 06 January. And he just put 81 points up on the board. I just remember the next day seeing the highlights of him shooting free throws, and it said 79 points, and I was like, what the hell just happened? What am I watching a video game here? And then you see the highlights of him just burying shot after shot against defenders. And people always criticize Kobe for not passing, and maybe that was his prime moment in which he really didn't pass it, like you said, the Smush Parker days and whatnot. But man, 81 points is still hard to get. I don't care if you're selfish or whatever. You still have to make the shots. So 81 points is that's something that defines who Kobe is, actually, kind of, for the haters and the lovers. 81 points is something that's they can never take away on that. It was that second on all time to Wilt Chamberlain. And never in my day did I think someone would even get close to that. And technically, not really that close, but still, 19 points is still if it went to overtime, maybe you would have gotten it. Maybe. But 81 points is absurd, and honestly, I don't even know if we'll see. Well, I don't want to say that. I think
Devin Booker got 70, I think, a couple seasons ago against the Celtics, but in a loss, though, and I think that we need to emphasize also it's a win. 81, and a win as well.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it has to be a close game. It has to be Klay Thompson, in a close game, or Steph Curry, where they're just hot and it just keeps going. But I don't think we're going to see it. I don't think we're going to see it.
It's going to be awfully tough, and I think if we do see it, it's not going to be in a close game, and I think that's going to be a little bit detrimental to the meaning behind it, because I think, if Trae Young goes out and scores 90 points, but they lose by 30, I mean, it's
garbage points, as they say.
Yeah, garbage points, and that's a beautiful, iconic Kobe moment. I'm glad you brought it up. It actually
number 1?
It didn't make my list.
Oh, man.
And let me give some reasoning why. I know all the Kobe fans out there are going to be mad at me for not putting it. But I'm going to be honest with everyone out there. I'm going to be honest with you, Peter. It didn't make my list because I didn't watch the game live. And so it would be a disservice to everyone and to myself for not putting it on the list. Because I think if indeed I did watch it live, for sure this would be 1, if not 2. But I think just because I didn't get to witness it live right in front of me, I think that is a little bit of a takeaway. Because everything else on my list I got to watch just organically happen before my eyes. This one, the 81 points, I mean, this is probably Kobe's most recognizable moment on the basketball court. Yeah, just, I mean, but I think 81, that's just, that, like you said, Peter, I don't think it's going to get touched. Similar to Wilt's, I don't think it's going to get touched. So this brings me to my number one. Again, Lakers might get mad at me for this. Shoot, I might get mad at myself. No, I'm not going to get mad at myself because this is my list. And this is my most memorable. Fun fact, not really fun, but this is a fact about my list. I don't have any of Kobe's championships on my list. I don't have any Laker championships on my list.
Yeah, I think that's fair because I guess I have the Portland one, but I couldn't think of like a memorable moment in the final, like a Michael Jordan moment, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
In the finals that was like sticks out. But go ahead.
Laker fans are going to get mad at me for this. Hell, I'm mad at me for this. But I didn't watch Game 7 of the 2010 NBA Finals against Boston live. All right, I'm going to let that marinate to all the listeners, to you, Peter. I didn't watch it live, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not upset about it. I'm kind of upset about it. But I didn't watch it live because that summer I was in Cambodia. Obviously, Cambodia has a time difference. I didn't get to watch the game live. I'm mad about it because of obviously what happened, but obviously I'm not mad about it because I got to visit the beautiful country of Cambodia where my father is from, where my father was born. And I had a great time there, but I didn't get to watch the game live. How I found out about the Lakers winning the 2010 championship? My mom's first generation iPad. I pulled it up using the hotel's Wi-Fi, and I saw Kobe holding both the Larry O'Brien and the Bill Russell MVP trophy. And I said, fuck yeah. But I didn't get to watch it live, and I'm mad about that. I really am, but at the same time, like I just mentioned, under the circumstances, I couldn't watch it live. None of Kobe's championships made my top 3 list. Number 1, for me, Kobe Bryant hits 2 free throws with a torn Achilles. That's number 1 for me.
Interesting.
I mean, a lot of people may disagree with that, but that's just me. I think, that shot of him shooting the 2 free throws with the torn Achilles, I mean, that's a compilation of Kobe and who he was. You see all these pictures of Kobe playing injured, and he played through so many injuries throughout his career. I take that moment of him making the 2 free throws in a wash year too. That year we were supposed to be good. We had Steve Nash, we had Dwight Howard. But we sucked that year. Like, let's just be honest. We were terrible that year. Yeah.
Not straight booty.
Straight booty.
A little booty.
We were booty. A little booty. But even though with all that, I think just the moment itself, I'm just taking that moment of Kobe walking back out there, hitting 2 free throws. That just, for me, that's what sticks in my mind when I think of Kobe Bryant. And that's my number 1. And it's up there, and there's a gap between number 1 and number 2, a severely large gap. And that may be wild to a lot of people. That may be a TBH, but that's my TBH. And Kobe Bryant's my favorite of all time. That's my number 1. I'd like to hear yours, Peter.
Interesting. That is very, I mean, I was thinking about that one too. I don't know if I could put it in my list because I don't know. There's so many iconic moments other than that one, but I do get what you're saying. And I also get what you're saying in terms of you can't get to witness some of the things, so it doesn't resonate as much. It's not organic as when you do watch it. That one's interesting. I mean, I think that is a top Kobe, probably a top 10 for sure for anyone's list. To kind of just that Mamba mentality as we've been talking about. But I think I go to a different Mamba mentality in just what you mentioned in your third one, which was the 60-point game to end his career.
60
of them. 60 of them. But yeah, man. I mean, shoot, to end your career like that. I mean, I know, like we said, he shot it, I don't know, like 50 times. It was like 22 for 47 or something like that. Something ridiculous. But like, you still have to hit the shots. They were down, what was it, 10 or so with like half the quarter left, and you know, I remember just like you were saying that Golden State was on. I kind of was interested in seeing whether they're going to get the 73rd win. I mean, this is Kobe Bryant. He's a legend of the game. This is his last game. And, you know, once I started, you know, it looked like Golden State had it in hand. I was like, yeah, I probably win it. I kind of turned to Kobe. And shoot, man, he did not disappoint. Shot after shot. And I think it's just like we've been talking about, organic reaction. You know, Mike Tirico and Hubie Brown were just going berserk as the announcers. It's like, oh my, oh, it was just like, it was pure elation. And it's one of those things that you love sports for, when a legend rises to the occasion. Now, I know the game didn't really mean much, but it did mean. I mean, it was his last game, last basketball game, and obviously now with everything that we know now, with his passing, that that's his lasting legacy leaves us in terms of basketball. It's just incredible, man. 60 points. He's probably injured too. That you probably didn't even say. He's probably nicked up. He's old. You know, he hasn't been playing great all season, and you know he's got all the eyeballs on him. Everyone knows this is his last game. You know, they've been doing it the whole last dance basically for him on that one, in that season, and for him to put up a performance like that is the Mamba mentality. That is the Mamba mentality.
60 of them.
60 of them.
I mean, like you said, you got to make the shots.
Right.
It's tough to score 60 in 2K. That man did it in his last game. He was probably, gas tank was on E. And he did it with the dub. He secured the dub.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I'm not disputing that. Great top 3 list, especially coming from you, Peter, a non-Laker fan. I want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for compiling this list together.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Kobe's had so many great moments throughout his career. And it's tough to dwindle it down and filter it down to top 3. But, I mean, I think every single moment that we just listed out was just iconic.